So that was the basics of how to find a way on the front of the body, the midline, lower abdomen, upper abdomen, and the chest region. Now I'd like to demonstrate finding some of the REN points to be able to demonstrate the actual point location. Okay, so let's start with the lower abdomen first. I'm going to use red stickers today. Maybe just before we get there, we have the belly button or the umbilicus, and then we're gonna go and find the superior border of the pubic symphysis, and I know it's right through there. Again, if there's a full bladder, we want to be mindful not to press too hard. Okay, it's easier to just go with a blade. Okay, so we know it's right there. For demonstration purposes, I want to be very specific. So my point right here is REN2, right there on the midline. So I'm going to put a small dot right there. That also tells us that if we take 3 fingers on the left and 3 fingers on the right, even spaces, we can then be able to find REN3, REN4, REN5, REN7, REN8, with REN6 being in between. So let's just mark another common use points. Let's do REN4. So again, REN4, haven't moved that. 2, 3, 4, right there. Let's do REN6. So again, let's find R3, 1, and then this needs to be here, but I'm holding the sticker. So actually, let's do this one right there. Here we go. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5. REN6 is going to be right there in between. Oh, that's so awesome that I'm using stickers. Not easy to do. Alrighty, REN6. Okay, let's put a pause. So we're now going to move into the upper abdomen segment of the REN-MAI. So because we need to measure REN16, I'd like to ask my patient to actually lift the breast a little bit up. And then what we're going to be looking for is we're going to follow the inner borders of the rib cage as they join together. I use a few fingers. It's a little easier to make sure that I'm on the right track. There's bone underneath here. I can feel this guy and this guy coming together. So that's going to be my REN16. Some people would feel the xiphoid sticking below, right around there. I'm going to make sure that I'm on the sternocostal angle, which is REN16. I'm going to leave one finger there, which means we have 8 soon from the umbilicus. That means that REN12 is going to be right there. So let's actually keep one finger here. It's not easy to put stickers and keep your measurements. And then let's also show REN14. So again, that's actually, I'll put REN16. I think it's important that we do that. Okay, and then I feel the bones coming together right there. I'm gonna put one there. Promise I'll take it off afterwards. So if that's the case, right there is maybe a little too low. Let's go a little bit there. So REN16, REN12, which makes that one to be REN14. And then let's do another one for REN10. So REN10 is going to be half that distance. Cool. And now let's say we need REN9, REN11, REN13. So we keep our measurements. We know that's our 12, that's our 10. So halfway is going to be REN11 right there. If we need REN15, for instance, we know REN16, and then we have REN12, REN14. Halfway is going to be REN15. Right there, the lower point of the REN-MAI. So I hope it makes sense what we just did. So we have those points here. Let's put a quick pause here. So let me know when you're ready. Okay, the last segment for the REN-MAI is going to be the upper segment or the chest region, where we're going to be relying heavily on the finding the intercostal spaces. So I'm just going to use some points to demonstrate the body landmarks, and then we'll find them each. Okay. Alrighty, so go ahead and start. When you look into the persons from that perspective, when they're laying on the back, where the two clavicle meet together, that's our sternal notch or jugular notch. I'm going to put that in the center of that cavity, if you will, or depression. That's going to be our REN22. Okay. Now, I want to make some stickers available on my hand really quick. Well, easier said than done. Right there. And let's look for some intercostal spaces. So we talked about going down with a few fingers and finding what we call the manubrial sternal synchondrosis. It's that ridge, if you will, also known as the angle of Louis. So the second rib is going to be attaching right at that level. That means that where my middle finger on the right, that's the first intercostal space. Second rib below, first rib above. Okay, that's the first. Now, if we talk Ren, we know that we want to count. I'd like to do Ren 17 first. So let's just point the spaces of the ribs. So the first intercostal space is where I just placed my finger, right there. It's not an acupuncture point just yet. It's just to make sure we know where we are. I'd like to show that if I leave one finger and I'm starting to feel the other one, that's the next one in line. I can feel the rib in between. So that's the second intercostal space right there. Now, third, I leave one middle finger here, going one below, actually, and then right through there. Again, I'm very mindful about a woman here. I'm asking for permission. I'm explaining what I'm going to do. So that's the third intercostal space. I'm putting a finger here, going one below, and then right there is the fourth one. Fourth one, let's just position it here. Now that means that if I want to find the actual points of the Renmai, where the center of the fourth intercostal space meets with the manubrium, that line is where we're going to find Ren 17 right there. It's a little tender on most people. We'll put one right there in the center on the midline, which means it's on the Renmai. And then level with the third intercostal space, we're going to find Ren 18. So we're going to put it here. And then level with the second intercostal space, we're going to find, which is here, we're going to find Ren 19. And then first intercostal space is going to be right there on this I would say on the synchondrosis, that ridge we felt. It's going to be Ren 20. And here's something interesting. This is 22, that's 20. That means the 21 is just half, and it's just bone here, but it's still a Ren point, and it's just halfway the distance. So that's our Ren 21. So 16, Ren 17, 18, 19, 20, all aligned with the fourth, third, and second and first intercostal spaces. Ren 22, halfway, Ren 21. That relates to the Renmai points. Let's put a pause.